Wednesday, August 10th. I saw the 10 and my brain said October. Kidding, I don't have a brain. Let's see, we're going to get into finishing out B points. We're going to activate B points, and then we're going to start dealing with your notebook here in just a moment, and then everything is going to be good and fun stuff. Let's see, blah. All right, we finished this.
Yeah.
Before I activate B points, are there any last-minute questions about how to lose B points? Brody, just so you know, I've been recording class. You are probably going to want to go back and watch them because you're going to be responsible for knowing this, and if you don't follow the rules, you're going to be crushed. And so it's okay. It's not a me issue, it's a you issue. So I wish you the best of luck. Takara.
If I yell at you, will I get my B points taken away?
Probably. Depends what you're yelling at me. Sebastian.
Matey, save us from Mr. Brovicast.
Right. And nope. Ways to earn points. I've learned my lesson about letting you guys ask questions. So again, the easiest way to earn points is just don't be a turd. Every week that you don't lose points, you gain points. The more weeks in a row, the more points you gain. Up to, if you go like a month without losing points, at the end of each week, you get an automatic free 5 B points, which is like doing a Simpson sheet a week for free. And that's my way of paying you for not being a turd child. So the more good you are, the more good things happen to you. Yep. And there, again, you can do a Simpson sheet. I've had 6 kids choose Simpson sheets already today. You can do a Simpson sheet even if you're not in the bad negative area. I don't give them until the end of the class. And if you choose to do one, it is due the next day. If you don't have it done the next day, I get to torture you because then you made me do work and you didn't do what you were supposed to. If you want to get one for free, they're on my Canvas page. You can go on there and just download it and print your own blank copy and then write it from there. Or you can also just write it on a blank piece of paper. If you have your own notebook, you can just write them in your notebook, and that's fine with me also. It has to be that phrase, I will be more responsible for my performance in school, and you have to number them, but it doesn't have to be on my special paper. You're welcome to use your own paper, and that's fine with me. All right. Make it a good question, Jehovah, because these other kids, there's something else.
Okay, so I don't know if you answered this yesterday, but is getting detention optional?
Yes and no. If you go down to 0 B points, it's not, because at that point you get one. So you can always choose to take one before that if you're wanting to get the 15 B points. But if you get all the way down to 0 B points, technically you're choosing one because of your choices. But once you hit 0, you're out of choices. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Okay. Then, again, Simpson sheet, you're always welcome. I did have a kid earlier ask, would it be a smart thing to take the Simpson sheet on a Friday? And I was like, well, technically, because then you can have all weekend to work on it. The drawback is you're working on a Simpson sheet on the weekend. But if that's a thing that works for you, it's fine with me. And you can do up to 200 lines on one Simpson sheet because there's a front and a back. So you could be really, really bored if you wanted to. All right. Did we talk about Struggle Town with you guys?
No.
All right. If you get down below 5 points, so once you get down to 4 points or lower, you lose the right to sit with other kids, and you come over here to these 3 desks. These 3 desks are my Struggle Town area. This is for you when you are struggling to figure out how not to make bad choices. When you're over here, you just sit and face wall. You're not allowed to turn and talk to other kids. You can turn while I'm teaching, but otherwise you're pretty much just stuck in that seat the entire time. You don't get to leave Struggle Town until you get above 10 B points. So it means you have to do like 2 Simpson sheets to get out of that area once you're into Struggle Town. This is my way of trying to help you prevent detention. The thing that Jehovah asked about earlier. This way, when you get down to 4 points, and we know the detention is coming close, I try to make it harder for you to lose points by bringing you over here so you don't have as many distractions and stuff like that. Robert?
Can I choose to go to Struggle Town?
Sometimes. If like, I have some kids who just want to get away from other people, and that's fine. The problem is while you're there, you still can't turn and talk. But if you just rather sit there, and I've had kids who do that in the past, you just realize that you still have to follow the Struggle Town rules. To help you remember, here's your little animation for today. Here's your animation for today. Here's my computer locking up. All right, we're back. I yelled at the computer. Okay, here's me teaching, having a good time, and everything is full of love. And over here, we have Struggle Town, where kids make poor choices. And in Struggle Town, we can't have Susie there because Susie's dead. Because Susie went behind my desk and she's no longer with us. So now we have two new children who are full of tears and sadness because of their poor choices. Their poor choices have made them be so sad, they have created a giant puddle of tears from their sadness. Well, as a teacher, I am attracted to kids' tears like a giraffe to a tall tree. And I feel the only thing you can do with a puddle of tears is dance in the puddle of tears, and you will see me dance in the puddle of tears as I taunt those children. So that is going to be me dancing in a puddle of tears. And yes, I did have to Google old man dancing in order to make this, and there are a lot of creepy pictures out there that I don't recommend you Google the same thing, because it's an educational experience, and I had to find the least creepy one to put up there. And that was the least creepy one I could find. So don't be the kid that has a puddle of tears. All right, then this part. The Hochstetler rule. I had a kid named Adam Hochstetler who figured out a way to break my system. So I named a rule after him when I changed it. He's one of the few kids who managed to outsmart me. So to reward him, I have now named it after him. What Adam did was he was a really smart kid and a really turdy kid. So what he would do is he had a Simpson sheet that he would go home and do every weekend. And he would do all sides of it, so he'd have 20 B points. And then each week he would come in and be a giant turd. And he would just show up late to class, he would not do his homework, he would push things off other kids' desks, lose as many B points as he could until he got down to 4. And as soon as he got down to 4 points, he'd pull out the Simpson sheet, slap it down and go, booyah! And go back up to 24 points and start turding all over again. And I was like, you little genius child. And he found a way to break my system. I mean, it required him to do work, but it also allowed him to be a turd. So, at the end of the year, I changed my system and named it after him, called Hochstetler Rule, which means if you lose 15 B points in a week, you get an automatic detention, regardless of how many points you have. If you're at 50 B points and you spend 15 in a week, you have an automatic detention, because it should not be easy to spend 15 points. The only way you spend 15 points a week is by really committing to be a turd. I mean, you're going to have to not do any homework assignments, show up every late to school days, my class late, smack other children. As soon as you lose 15 points, you get the detention. To help you, as soon as you lose 13 points, I move you to Struggle Town, because then you know the bad things are going to happen to you. Even if you gain points, you get the detention. So if you're at 1,000 B points, and then you lose 14 B points, and then gain 1,000 more, and then lose 1 more point, you have a detention. What? Even though you're like, I'm at 2,000 points. I know, but you lost 15. Do not spend 15 points in a week. Do not break the Hochstetler rule. Yeah, what's up?
So, is it just 15 points and you get a detention if you're bad, or like say that I buy like 3 mechanical pencils for?
Now to help you with that, I won't sell you anything after 10 B points. So once you've spent 10 B points, I don't let you buy anything. So the only way to go from 10 to 15 is turding. So you can't like buy 3 mechanical pencils. I won't let you because I don't want you to get the detention. Does that help you out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so even buying things counts towards that 15, which I've had kids do. They'll buy a thing and then have like a really bad week, and I'm like, oh no, if you hadn't bought that pencil at the beginning of the week. And they're like, can I sell it back to you? And I'm like, no, learning is painful. Brody.
How did this happen? Like when?
A long time ago. He's in college now. So 9 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. Yes.
What if you like? So doesn't that break your own rules if you waste 15 points buying pencils and stuff? Doesn't that break your own rule though?
Of what?
Of spending B points on pencils.
You can. But it's just like I can't go buy a Ferrari if I don't have the money for it. I can't walk in and go, I'm a teacher, I want to buy a Ferrari. And they'll go, no. It's the same thing. You're going to go, I want to buy a pencil. And I'll go, no. You can, no Ferrari for you. So you're out of luck. For some people, a Ferrari is a Ferrari. For other kids, a pencil is their Ferrari. Now, if you make good kid choices, good kid things happen to you. This is my good kid scale. You don't spend points to do this. It happens automatically. As long as you have those points, you get to do it. So at 30 B points, as long as you have 30 B points, every day you're at 30 B points, you can bring a pillow to my class. And you can sit there and sit on it. Because I know like that little gray chair is annoying. And you can go, wiggle, wiggle, poofy. And you can sit on your little poofy pillow every single day that you have 30 B points. And that's fine with me. You're not paying 30 B points. This is my way of rewarding you for having 30 B points. When you get to 50 B points, that's the one that most kids aim for. At 50 B points, you get to choose your own seat in class. If someone else has the seat you want, you get to kick them out of that seat and it becomes your seat. So if Takara finally gets tired of being close to me and she gets to 50 points, she's like, I'm getting away from you, crazy man. And she wants to steal Wesley's seat, she can. As long as he's under 50 points, she can be like, I'm better than you. And he's like, no, you're not. And I go, oh, yes, she is. And then she gets to go over there and steal your seat. And now Wesley gets to sit there and Takara gets to go, I'm far away from crazy. And it gets to save your life on that one. And so at 50 points, you get to choose your seat. You can sit next to a friend. You can sit where you want in the class. I mean, not in my chair because it'd be awkward to be in your lap. But beyond that, you're welcome to sit wherever you want in the class. If you want to stop someone from stealing your seat, if Wesley doesn't want Takara to steal his seat, he just has to get to 50 points. If you get to 50, you've stopped them until Takara gets to 100 points. If you get to 100 points, she gets to go all flexy again. And she's like, I'm better than all you under 100. And you get to try and steal their seat again. And so for sometimes it becomes a race to see how many points you can get to try and steal a kid's seat or not. So that's the seat thing. 75 points, I have a big box of mystery fun. It's like the treasure box when you were in kindergarten, but now it's full of like blow pops and ring pops and toys and stuff like that. And you get to spend 5 B points and keep a thing and be like, it's so pretty. At 100 B points, there's a game you get to play every day and try to win a piece of candy. 200 B points, you get to write over there on the board and you get to taunt the other kids and stuff like that. And so you don't spend those points, you get them automatically. And you get everything below it. So if you're at 50 points, you get to choose your own seat, and you get to have a pillow, and you can be on the ground, and so you get all of those things as it goes down from there. That's the last of the B points things. We're good with B points. Then they're activated. As of now, behavior points are now a thing. Your choices will now impact you. Tomorrow, when I pick up my little clipboard at the beginning of class, I'm not taking attendance. I'm taking your points. I wish you the best of luck. Whee! Now let's educate kids.
Okay.
Over here. I have my little calendar thing that probably most teachers have up. It's also on Canvas. Here's why you're going to want to care about my calendar thing. One, I have 2 different ones, regular and advanced. Right now, they're the same because it's the beginning of the year and we're all doing the same thing. In about a week, it'll shift as my advanced kids go off in a different direction from us. Regular is always in blue. Advanced is always in purple. So just always look for the blue one, and then you're going to be fine. Here's how it's going to help you. If you want to know about homework, whether homework is due or homework is being assigned, you can look up there. Anytime that homework is due, it is in a little red box at the top of the day. So you can look up there and see that Monday, I had homework due. Tuesday, homework due. Today, no homework. Tomorrow, no homework. Friday, homework due. And so you can look up there and always see what day's homework is due. If you want to know if I'm going to assign homework, it's at the bottom of the day. And you can look up there and go, oh, Monday he assigned homework, no homework, no homework. Tomorrow he assigns homework, Friday, no homework. So you can always look over here to figure out if there's homework or not. Here's why that's important. If you come into my class and you ask me, Mr. Brovicast, is there homework due today? What I hear you say is, Mr. Brovicast, I'm lazy. Will you torture me today? And the answer is, yes. Yes, I will. The other class I passed in college, besides throwing things at children, was lying to children. And I'm good at it, and I can do it with a straight face. So if you ask me if homework is due, I assume your heart desperately wants homework, and I want to make that happen. So I will come up with a random homework assignment to give to you. When you go, was there homework due today? I'll go, yeah. Yesterday, that story we were reading about the cat, you had to write the 1-paragraph little essay about your favorite cat. We're reading them out loud today. You have yours, don't you? And you'll go, what? And then, if we're lucky, there'll be smart kids paying attention. And if you're one of the smart kids paying attention, join in and help. And then go, yeah, mine's about a tiger. And supposed to go, I wrote mine about Garfield the cat. And then we're all going to look at you and go, we all have our cat essays. And you'll go, huh, huh. And we're all going to look at you, and it's the best thing ever. And then maybe if some of your smartness comes through, you're going to turn and look at the board and go, but it's not over there. And I'll go, I know. That's because you're a big dum-dum. Why would you ask me? I'm going to lie to you. I'm a professional liarist. So do not ask me if there's homework. Look over there. If you ask me, I get to torture you. I said professional dum-dum, and you raised your hand, Robert. What's up?
Is there any homework due today?
Yes, Robert. We had the homework with the cat essay. You're going to be going first in just a moment.
Mine's
Yeah,
about a tiger.
Robert.
Mine's about
Mine
money.
about a lion.
Mine's about everything.
Bro, I just
Mine's
said
about
that.
bunnies.
Just
Look
said
at
that.
you guys are so fascinating. Mr. Broviak, I want to lie to kids. I want to lie to kids too. It's the bestest. It's the whole reason of becoming a teacher. It's the best
Like
class.
you.
Quizzes. We're going to have a quiz almost every week, like once we get into like the actual teaching of stuff. I think our first quiz is next week. Anytime we have a quiz, I'm going to put it over here. It's almost always on Thursday or Friday. I hate doing quizzes at the beginning of the week. One, you guys already hate Mondays. Two, if it's at the end of the week, I can build up to it by like reminding you about information. So it'll almost always be at the end. It'll be written over here in giant letters, so it's really hard to miss. And all of my quizzes are open note, open book, open handout, open everything. If you don't lose it, you get to use it. So as long as you can keep things, because I figure it's a life skill for adults. Adults get to look up stuff. Kids should get to look up stuff. So I let you guys look up answers. So we should be good to go from there.
Oh, so nice.
All right. Last thing I have is this. Nicknames. So, apparently, part of the crazy that's up in my head is your souls will speak to me at times. And your souls will let me know that your parents messed up your name. And it is up to me to find out what your true name is. And many of your souls will let me know what your name should be in my class. And I will start renaming some of you with your new nicknames. The way it works is sometimes they're normal names, like I'm going to call you Bobby, or I'll call you Jonathan. Other times it's going to be like Bubbles, or Rocket, or Twinkie. It just sort of depends on what your heart tells me that your nickname is supposed to be. Some of you guys will get nicknames. Some of you guys won't get nicknames. I have no control over it. It's all in what your heart tells me. You can't pick your own nickname, not because I don't like you. I don't like any of you. But it's because that's not the way my brain works. You can't walk in and be like, Mr. Broviak, my nickname is Bubba, because that's what my friends call me. And I'm like, well, your friends are creepy, because that's not your name. And eventually, I'll figure out what your real name is, and I'll start calling it to you. You'll know you have a nickname when I keep looking at you and calling you a name. When I'm like, Twinkie, you're Twinkie. You're like, who's crazy man talking to? And I'm like, you Twinkie. And so that's how, once you get a nickname, that becomes your name. You can get rid of your old name. So if Riley becomes Twinkie, you can stop using Riley, because that's a dead name to me. You are now Twinkie forever.
Hey, Twinkie.
And by she's not Twinkie, I'm just using that as a stop torturing poor Twinkie. So with that one, the way it works is you can stop using your normal name. I will be referring to you as this forever from here on out. Like in emails to your parents, I'm going to be calling you Twinkie. So make sure your parents are aware of such things. If you come back to visit me as an 8th grader or in high school, I use your nickname. I have a college kid coming back to visit me after school today. I had to look up her real name because I've been calling her Sammy for the last 6 years. So on those ones, you just sort of have to know how your nickname is going to work. When will the nickname happen? It could be as soon as today. I gave like 2 kids nicknames already. Other ones, it could be next week, could be December, could be never. And a nickname does not mean I like you. Some of my biggest turd kids get nicknames because their parents failed naming of them. Some of my favorite kids never got nicknames because their parents did a good job. If you had a sibling come through, you don't get the same nickname as your sibling. You are a different person. You get your own name. So whatever their name was, you get to have your own name from there. And that's the nicknames. Wesley?
So, I have this friend that lives real nearby to me. She went to your class. I want to know if you still remember her by her nickname. Do you remember Bernie?
Oh, yeah. Dark hair girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you remember her real name?
Alex?
Hey!
That was Paul. I wasn't sure. Only because she's friends with my daughter. So that's the reason I noticed. I was like, she keeps I'm like, who's Alex? Oh, Bernie. So I'm like, he's throwing me off. Yes.
Okay. Did what's his name? Adam get a nickname?
He did not. Adam was just Adam. Sometimes you guys want to have one because your name is fun to say. And with Hochsteller, I just enjoyed saying his name. And so in that case, sometimes like Hochsteller, it's like, it feels like a German like attacking somebody. So in that case, you won't have a nickname. So it just depends on how it's going to be. So if I enjoy saying your name, I can't give you a nickname because your name's already fun. So we'll figure out.
My name.
Jehovah's kind of fun. We'll see how it goes on that one. It's kind of. I've never had a Jehovah before. So that one's kind of fun right there. Don't want to like rob you of that one. So we'll see.
Do you like my name?
I don't even know who you are, Austin. All right, so now we get a chance. Now it's time for learning bits. Have out notebook. We are going to begin notebooking things. I have Sharpies. If you have your own Sharpie, you can get out Sharpie. We are going to be writing on the outside front of notebook. This is what we're going to be writing on outside front of notebook. First off, and the most important one, your first and last name. Big as possible, gigantic letters. And then you also want to have my name on there in gigantic big letters. The English and the heroes just makes your life easier. I will toss you Sharpies in just a moment if you need them. Let me come over here and pause for a moment. We'll come back so we get boring for a second. So if you're at home, take your notebook. I'm going to steal your notebook for a second. Take your notebook and you're going to do the righty stuff on the outside because you're going to need to be able to follow this at home also. All right, let me give you guys credit. Oh, you didn't say that. Then, let's get to our next thing.
I don't like it.
That's why I was getting rid of it.
It's the
No.
what do you call that child? The disgraceful one.
You?
No. No. I'm
Don't sass a child, that's my job. Take notebook. Oh, now you need pen or pencil, your choice. Do not use Sharpie for this next one. Pen or pencil. Oh, and if you have spiral notebook, that's fine. It just means you have to be super careful that your pages do not come out. If pages come out, that is bad. Okay. Turn to the very first page. You're going to have notebook cover on one side, all the other pages on the other side. Alrighty. And I don't use this first page. I know you set one up with Mrs. Boots over in Social Studies. Mine is set up a little different and better. So here's how it's going to work. This first page, we are crossing it out because we don't use this first page. So home children, we're just putting a big X on this first page. If you're not sure how to spell that, write the word X-ray and then stop after the first letter.
Okay.
Oh wait, so we're writing X.
There you go.
my
That's
God,
tiny.
No E.
You know everyone
The
pays.
letter F.
E is
No
X.
E. No E's because they'll get jealous.
Then, once you have done, and if you don't want to do an X, I had a kid do a flower instead, and one kid do like a happy face. Whatever you want to do, just make sure you're not using this front page. We do not use it at all.
My change is
Alright.
bad.
And then I did have a kid do that last year. They're like, Mr. Brovicast, we don't like that page. Why don't you rip it out? And I was like, well, you're a genius. And they ripped it out. And I'm like, oh, no, that's a new first page. And they're like, well, let's rip that one out. I go, good job. And they kept doing it. And they got halfway through the notebook. And I'm like, do you see a problem? They're like, Mr. Brovicast, I'm dumb. And I'm like, yes, you are. So that's why you don't rip it out.
What does that mean?
All right. Now, turn to the next page where you have just one piece of paper and all the other pieces of paper. And we are going to be creating a table of contents. Not like Mrs. Boots, because she just gave you a thing to tape in there. Mine requires you to actually do work.
I don't want
If you can't see mine, I'll put it up on the screen for you. So now it's up on the screen to make it a little bit easier. If you still can't see it because you're little squinty children, I can focus it in if I wiggle it. Eep, 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 eep. There we go. And it comes and makes it easier to see. I will explain this to you so you don't mess it up. So don't start yet unless you can guarantee you're not going to mess it up.
Mr. Rubik, I'm bored.
Oh, sorry, I was ignoring you.
This class is boring.
So here's what you're going to do. This middle part right here is the foldy bit in the middle. So we're going to be doing something on the whole left page and the whole right page. Step one, at the top, you're going to write table of contents homework. On the right, table of contents bell work up in that top area. Then, on that line going across, you can either do it above or below as long as it's somewhere on that line, you're going to write the word date all the way to the left. So between the red line and the edge of the paper. Then right next to the red line, you write the word number. N-U-M-B-E-R. Then in the middle, you write the word title. And this is where a lot of kids mess it up. Between the pink line and the little middle part, you write the word page as far over as it goes. And you're going to do the same thing over here. Date, number, title, page. I'm going to come around with my kid helping stick for those of you who are struggling to try and help you out. So left side, right side.
He's gonna
Kids
bonk
at
you
home,
on the head.
you're doing the same thing. I'm going to pause it so you're not like bored watching me go around and help children or hitting them with a... All right. Now, those of you still working, continue. Those of you who are done, you get to go to our next step.
Yay!
Now, you have your table of contents.
Yes.
Turn one page, and we're going to do it again.
No.
17 more words. Mr. Brovicast, that's 34 words. I know. If 34 words kill you, it's going to be a long year. So we're going to have two identical table of contents. All 34 words. So you're doing the same thing again.
Wait, why table content?
We're going to talk about it in a moment. We'll get there. All right.
I wrote title instead of table.
If only there was a way to erase it.
I want title too.
End of class. Finish notebook and go home.